Hi, everybody. Tonight is October 28th, and we are going to talk tonight about momentum. And we are so thrilled with how you guys have absolutely risen to the occasion of Silver Club. But we definitely want to take this time to talk a little bit about momentum and about, continuing on in Silver Club and that kind of thing and why we're doing what we're doing. So I'm going to screen share here, and I don't know why it's not presenting. Hang on. Just 1 second, guys. Sorry. It's like it's trying to freeze up on me. I'm not going to any of my slides. Anybody want to share while I'm trying to figure out my technological difficulties here? Does anybody want to share anything from this week that's been good, that you have questions about? Come on now. Help a sister out because I can't get this to work. I'm going to save it and open it again.
I had a good day on Saturday. I'm really excited about, and it was one of those turn of events type of things. There was a breast cancer fundraiser at Gold's North. I was sitting right by the door, and as people were coming in and out, they were doing that whole like, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me type of thing. And I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible. Like no one was given a good vibe. And it was a gym. I was thinking, that it would be people that would be really, really receptive. And so I had to just really consciously try to be open-minded and have my energy right. And then like after that first hour, it was a huge turnaround. I had some awesome conversations with people coming through, but mostly the other vendors, people had a lot of physical problems they needed help with. So at the end of the day, I ended up selling a diffuser, which was the most random thing ever. And I have 2 consults. One of the gals there is having a small little vendor party at a spa and invited me to come. It ended up being really successful, even though it started off totally in the opposite direction. So that was a big win. I was excited.
That's awesome. And I know you, Patrice, you kept the positivity in the forefront and the good stuff going on, because it's easy to become so frustrated, and that vibe you're putting off totally attracts or just detracts people from your table for sure. So, well, I think I have it up and running. Thank you so much, Patrice, for sharing. Okay, so talking about momentum, just a few little things. As I was thinking about this, Michelle said we need to talk about momentum and keeping it going. And you guys, this season of the year, if you cannot create and sustain momentum through this last quarter of the year, that might be saying something, because this is such a great time of year. But something that we need to understand is that momentum demands movement. That means you have to be doing things. You have to be constantly producing and being in that zone with your business. It doesn't mean that you have to, in every second of every day, be trying to find contacts and all that kind of thing. So I just want to preface this by saying that's not what I'm saying. I want you just to understand that some of the things that we'll be talking about is just going to help you get your claws in and get your feet in and keep going forward, okay? Or can keep moving the needle. This is Isaac Newton's first law, I think is what it's called. An object that is at rest will tend to remain at rest. An object that is in motion will tend to remain in motion. So this is something that I think we need to understand in the beginning, is that in the beginning, or what we would call like a relaunch period, where you're really going for it again and you've had to step back a while or anything like that, or you couldn't just do it as consistently. This is where, if you can remain in the state of moving forward, then it is going to be easier to stay in motion, okay, versus something that is going to be stopped in its tracks. Sometimes emergencies happen, life things happen where we have to, well, I haven't, but I've seen it happen where people have to sort of completely put the brakes on. And then it is so much harder for those people to get back into motion. Okay. So what we love and why the leaders in this group have created Silver Club for you guys is because it's designed to set things in motion. The reason that we have the requirements of Silver Club is because we don't want you to just hop on calls and not do anything. The requirements were set there for you so that you would feel a push. Sometimes we need something that's obviously we need to be motivated from on the inside, but sometimes that external force is really what helps to push us forward. And I do want to say this, we are so proud of you guys. We know that there are some people that didn't meet the requirements this month for Silver Club, but if you have done pretty much anything, you're going to remain in Silver Club. So we're going to be sending out at the end of the month messages to you, congratulating you for completing and getting all the requirements, and also for those people who have been trying but that just missed the mark a little bit, because we want you to know that we're behind you. And if you are moving the needle, if you are in motion, then we are behind you and we are cheering you on. And we are here not just to be your cheerleaders, but to help you gain skills. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Okay, so first I'm going to start a little bit, because I know we have some people in this group who are fairly new to growing your doTERRA business. So you probably are in that first phase of that wonderful momentum that is created. And then some of you could be in different places, different seasons in your business where you may have felt like you've plateaued personally, even though your team is moving forward, or there are lots of different reasons that you can lose momentum. Okay, so the first way would be to stop, to quit. And I've heard this said so many times, the only way to fail in this business is to flat out quit. Okay, maybe you've stopped sharing the business opportunity with people. Therefore, people aren't doing this with you. And guys, if people aren't doing this with you, it's hard and it's not near as fun. Okay, you've stopped sharing the oils. Maybe you stopped. And I'm not talking about you personally, guys. This is going to be a toolkit for you to mentor your leaders with, okay? When you stop doing classes, when you stop attending classes, guys, this was something that as a team culture, we used to have tons and tons and tons of attendance of just customers that wanted to hear things again. And I know that we don't do the huge events like we used to, but I know that there are lots of you that have, constant, people that are still attending classes. And y'all, I'm telling you right now, when I go and I listen to Michelle teach, or Deb teach, or Steph teach, or Lindsay teach, if I hear other people teach, I always get little nuggets that's like, man, I need to switch that up in my class. I like how she said that, or I like how she's doing that. So go into each other's classes and bringing your contacts to those classes, not sending your contacts to the classes, but going with them, being alongside of them. You're going to learn from other builders, how to better yourself and better your how you're teaching your class and getting good ideas. When you stop attending events, like whether it's customer appreciation, whether it's corporate events, you guys know that attending events is key in building your belief, if nothing else, okay? Belief is huge in this business. I have a typo. When you stop talking to your upline, not your spline, but when you stop talking to your upline, sometimes I feel like when people stop talking to their upline or stop reaching out or having a point of contact, not every single day, but you kind of know that things are, they almost like they feel guilty to talk to you when they have to talk to you because they know they haven't done things. Or you may have been in this spot where you felt guilty talking to your upline, or you dreaded talking to your upline, not because you didn't want to talk to them, but you knew that some of the questions they may ask or things that you would have to report or less than stellar, right? When you stop enrolling, guys, even those of us who have teams with hundreds or thousands of people on our team, we are still getting our own personal enrollments. Is it like it was when it was in the beginning? Maybe not, but we are still onboarding people and getting them to enroll, and we're still sharing the business with people. Also, when you stop inviting. Now, and this is something that we want to touch on at some point about how to invite and not just announce and not just to post things on Facebook. Okay, so we're going to move on. Now, this is something I've already kind of talked a little bit about, but John Maxwell said this. He says, the longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds that you will never actually do it. Sorry, I had a hiccup in the middle of that. So let me read this again. The longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds that you will never actually do it. Okay, you can totally apply this to exercise and diet. You can totally apply this to other lifestyle things. But guys, how many of you know, maybe you had a gym membership, or maybe you had, maybe you were really, really passionate about learning something new that was a skill set that you needed to know for work or whatever, and you were really fired up about it. You did it for a set amount of time, and then the one day you kind of stopped doing it, or you didn't go, or you didn't show up to the gym. It was so much easier the next time to not go, and then the next time to not go. So this is very, very true in your business. The first little spell of time that you let go by that is stagnant, that you don't have something going on, the easier it is for you to keep your schedule clear of things that have to do with your business. And this is true. And guys, I can't tell you how many times I've seen this happen. And then people are like, I just don't know what happened. You stopped doing things. That's what happened. So you have to keep things rolling. All right. Now this is something at the big, I've heard, just like the Newton law, things in motion tend to remain in motion, things, blah, blah, blah. So the word motion, I guess, Benjamin, I don't know who came first, but anyway, this was a Benjamin Franklin quote, but it basically said, never confuse motion with action. So there are times where we feel like we're doing things, but we really aren't. And y'all, I've even been guilty of this at times. Like, I feel like I have spun my wheels. I know you all have had moments like that, where you feel like you've spun your wheels and you've done all this, or you might have had like 45 things on your to-do list and you skipped around, and you feel like you worked on your business, or you feel like you spent time on your business, but it was really not with an intentional action. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about is talking about motion but not action, and the non-income producing activities that you might be doing. And this is, I hope I don't offend anybody, but these are just some things that are taking your time that may not be income producing. Okay, so not using your time wisely is one. So if you don't know how, this is something if you all are familiar with the Gallup Strength Finder, 0 of my top 5 strengths, actually I think maybe 1 in my entire top 10, is in execution. I am not high in execution. I have had to learn. I'm great at ideas. I'm great at being creative. I'm great at cultivating people and loving on people and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to having that idea and then actually executing it to a point that is going to be successful, I've had to really learn skills in that area. I still have trouble with scheduling. I have a calendar on my wall. I have a calendar at my desk. I have to have them all, but I sometimes don't sync everything and something gets mixed up, just like me not posting the link today when I really thought that I did, okay? So I'm just completely owning that I do have to work on some of the areas of execution and being intentional with execution. So not using your time wisely, scrolling social media. Now, I don't mean that it's not okay for you to take some time in the morning or your lunch break or whenever and just kind of do that mindless scrolling and check up on your friends. I'm not saying that, but you and I both know that there are a lot of times that we get sucked into social media, and then it's clicking on this article and then reading this, and it's down a rabbit hole before you know it. And you've had an hour and a half of your time. When I sit down at my computer, I don't even put it on Facebook until I'm ready to post in my groups, because I know that I'll do the same thing. Something else is checking your volume 45 times a day in your back office. Some people do this. They'll go and they'll check their volume to see how many LRPs went through, and they're doing it like obsessively. Just you going in 45 times a day or even 10 times a day to check your volume, or to check, if anybody's enrolled somebody or whatever, rather than contacting people and helping them increase their volume is not going to serve you. Okay. This is for those of you who do have builders. I realize some of you don't, but when you hound your builders about what they are doing for enrollments in classes, etc., you will see in the income producing activities the flip side of this. Okay, so you don't need to just call up your friends and be like, hey, when are you having a class? Are you having a class? Tell me about that. Okay, well, you need to have this, and you need to do this, and you need to have that. You should have 4 classes. Okay, that kind of conversation can be so intense and very intimidating for your builders. Those conversations need to take a turn to where you're helping them gain skill set to make sure that they're even getting people to their classes and that kind of thing. Another thing that I have seen a ton with doTERRA people is taking hours to create graphics to post on Instagram and Facebook instead of creating or working with new contacts. You can, and there's nothing wrong with posting what you're doing on Facebook, and you should be utilizing social media, but some people feel like because they spent 20 minutes on making this beautiful graphic of the promotion and posting it on Facebook, that took 2 hours of their day. That is actually working. That is actually creating. Could you imagine if that person took that hour to reach out to 5 people about that promotion? That's going to be way more income producing. Okay, so action equals creating movement. So these are kind of the flip sides to what I just said. So give your time a boss, schedule and time block. So if you don't give your time a boss, it will do other things. I do this, I'm getting so much better at this myself, and I know that this is something that your mentor or your leader or your sponsor can help you if this is something that you struggle with. Being intentional on social media, sharing your content in user groups. Guys, we have lots of groups out there that primarily get posted in as far as like, sure, we've got questions coming in all the time, but the actual educational posts that are being made are being made by some of your top leaders. You guys can add value to those groups, and your people who are in those groups will see you as an authority in oil education. So not only does it add content to your group, but people are going to know who you are, and they're going to say, oh man, you know that girl Jane, she posted that really good thing on restful sleep. Oh, Jane, I'm going to see her next time we get together. You know what I'm saying? Or they might be on your team and they see you and they're like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm on her team. She really knows what she's talking about. So it gives you authority, y'all. Be present in those online learning communities for sure. Teach online classes through Facebook or any other outlet. Sharing your story on your wall, your personal page, your adventures. I've always heard that not to share like promotions and products, but to share what you're doing with your oils, what you're doing, where doTERRA is taking you. Are you traveling to Richmond to teach classes for friends there? Are you so excited because you're at this vendor event and you just met so-and-so and tag them in that post? You know, those types of things are what are going to be good on social media. Again, that's a whole nother, we could do a whole call on social media, okay? Learn the tools you have in your back office. Y'all, they're still part of the back office. I don't understand. But there are things that can help you be faster when you're in the back office than just fiddling around and looking at your tree. And I mean, that's good, but sometimes hours and hours and hours spent is not going to be what you need to be doing at the end of the day. Teaching classes, one-on-ones, and follow-ups. Guys, this is fundamental. If you aren't doing this regularly, then really you're not building, okay? You're hoping and wishing, okay? Having calls with your coach, having calls to coach and mentor your team, help your new builders and sharers with classes or one-on-ones. You may not yet be at a place where you should be mentoring. You should be plugging into your uplines mentor calls if they're doing those kinds of calls. Really, unless you are a silver or getting close to silver, you shouldn't be having mentor calls. Now, can you have business conversations with your friends that you're doing the business with? Absolutely. But make sure that you're plugging in with your strong leader because they've been where you are and they're going to be able to help you get further in your business. But you can absolutely be helping your new builders and sharers with classes and one-on-ones, and you should be helping them teach them and all those types of things. You should always be asking others to join you in the business because in doTERRA, we don't put the business first, but take 2 seconds at the end of your wellness consult or your welcome appointment and ask them, what's your level of interest, right? If you use the sheet that we have that says, is your welcome appointment, there's a little 1 to 10 scale. and you ask them, what's your interest in earning an income with doTERRA? If they circle a 2, do a business overview with them. Okay, talk to them about the business. Well, there's some interest, or it would be 0. Okay, that might mean they want to host a class. Constantly working for new contacts. So just understand, I have conversations with the top leaders on our team pretty frequently about, I really want to keep bringing people in, and I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and I really need to have my own personal enrollments. So we are always working for our new contacts too. So don't ever forget to keep doing that. All right, moving on. One way to keep momentum is to constantly have greater goals. I feel like we have, I think sometimes, especially around times like convention or even in Silver Club or something like that, we might have people that are saying, well, I'm going to be silver next month. I'm going to be gold next month, or I'm going to be premier next month. Some of those are wonderful things to say, and some of those are great and attainable goals. But goals are wonderful. You can say that, but you must have a plan. Do you know how much volume you need to get there? Do you know how many classes you need to get there? I think goals are incredibly powerful, but you must also have a plan. Okay? Work with your mentor and your sponsor with that. Okay, now this is where I think that you guys should try to take a screenshot of this if you can, or take a picture with your phone if you're on your computer, or if you know how to do it with your computer. And I want you to ask yourselves these questions. Excuse me. And I also want you, if you have a call with your mentor or just a conversation with whoever's sponsoring you in Silver Club, I want you to talk to them about any of these places that you feel weak, okay? Because skills are essential in this business. We can tell you to teach a class, teach a class, teach a class, teach classes, have 45 classes. But if you can't get somebody to come, we got to work on some other skills, right? Okay, so ask yourself these questions. I'm not going to go really into a lot of this, because I think that this is where you evaluate yourself so that you can learn your skills. And then I'm going to tell you why it's so important to get deeper into your skills and get these things polished out. Do you know how to make a list and why we do it? We always say at the beginning, make a list. Make your list your 100. Do you know how to talk to people without being awkward? Do you feel like you can articulate, inviting someone, or even teaching the class, presenting a class without feeling nervous? There are some things that you can do, some activities you can do with your mentor here. Do you know how to tell your story? Do you know what your story is in doTERRA? What are the most important things that you want to highlight and blow somebody's mind? If they ask you, do you really use those oils? What could you fire back at them in 30 seconds or less? What 2 minutes or less story could you present in your class? Do you know how to invite? Can you present the oils without forcing your attendees to go home and do research? How many of you have gotten this objection? Are you giving them so much information that they cannot process it, so then they're overwhelmed? Are you not giving them enough, and you don't really know what you're talking about, so they're not really sure they want to enroll with you? Make sure that you're very versed in what you're presenting. Can you present the kits with confidence without prejudging what they can and cannot afford? I know I used to do this big time, but I don't anymore. I just put it all out there, and then I ask them, which one interests you the most? Can you transition to the close? First of all, do you know what a close is? And can you ask for the sale? Can you ask them, do you want to get this today? Are you comfortable with that? Okay, so when you skill up, you begin to have small wins. So how many of you remember that first enrollment that you got? How fired up were you? How exciting was that? That's a small win. No, it's a big win, really, but it's lots of these little small wins. How excited were you, Patrice, when you made those contacts with those gals at the vendor show? It's exciting. I was so excited. I got 2 personal enrollments this week, and that doesn't usually happen at least 2 in a row. How excited do you get when you have several of these little things happen at once? It's wonderful. It's good for you. It's good for that person. And it's really great for your upline to see you thriving and knowing that you have gained a skill set. The reason that small wins are so important is because they instill confidence. The more enrollments you get, the more you want, right? The more people you cannot wait to share with. The more times you sit down in a class and you share your heart and you teach, the more you want to teach. The more testimonials you hear from your customers about how these products are literally changing their lives, the more convicted you are about continuing to share. Okay? And as you guys who are shooting for Premier and Silver, as you guys are growing, as you're growing your downline, you have to help your downline have these small wins and celebrate them with them. I can't tell you how excited when a new builder texts me and says they get an enrollment. Or, oh my gosh, I just did a welcome appointment. Oh my gosh, I have a new sharer builder. This is exciting. Small wins are amazing and they build confidence. So we want to make sure that we master the mundane. The mundane, no, it's not mundane in the sense that it's like, but it's like, what do you have to get so good at you could do it in your sleep? You need to be able to invite. You need to be able to teach a class. You need to be able to follow up, and you need to be able to confidently share the business opportunity with people. Okay? Those are the things that you have to get so good at, that you can continually have these small wins, several a week. Okay? All right. So an object that is in motion will not change its velocity until an external force acts upon it. So this is where, like I said, sometimes you don't always have it inside of you and you need that external push. And that's sort of where something like Silver Club comes in. There's an external force of leadership that is hoping and helping you to rock it out. Okay. So, and sometimes we sign up for these things. We sign up for Diamond Club and we sign up for Silver Club and we accept certain challenges because we know that helps us go further. Okay. So also we need to know what are some ideas to create contacts, to create momentum. We are always talking about, what we can do to, the answer to momentum is more people, always. Okay. So some things that you can do, which, I mean, some of these are like, duh, but at the same time, you may not have even thought beyond, just the fact that you're just getting started and that you do sometimes have to ask. Not everybody's going to come out of the woodworks and be like, hey, can you teach a class to me? It's awesome when that happens, but sometimes we have to ask. Okay, so ask people in your close circle to host a class for you. Your friends and family, they love you. They want to help you. Ask them and make it as simple as you can for them. 3 friends at your table, no appetizers necessary. Just provide us a space and get some of your friends there and let me present to them. Something that I love. Ask strong customers in your downline to host classes and gift them oils and products they love. Michelle's a master at this. She I know that when she can tell you a little bit if we have after this, but look in your downline. Look at those people who are consistently placing 100 PVLRPs, maybe more. Some people are ordering 200 PVLRPs. You know that when people who are not doing the business are placing those kinds of orders, they're having wonderful experiences. Go to your detailed genealogy, pull up their name, click that little hyperlink that's going to take you to their order. Look at their last several months' order and see what they're ordering. See what they love. Message them and say, hey, girl, I know you're loving your products, and I see that you are just going crazy over Balance and Serenity, and I would love to gift you a Balance bath bar and the Balance deodorant if you would have host a class for me. Okay, so be strategic about it. Okay, maximize promotions. This is another thing we could do probably a whole call on. On the first, you need to know what the products are, what the promotions are. You need to know where to go to get graphics. You need to make it. This is when you could spend some time making some graphics about promotions. Message your strong customers and make sure they see it first. Be excited. I have literally messaged people, even people that don't have a strong LRP, like somebody who has 10 PV, every single month and they're ordering the same thing. I'll send them a Facebook message and be like, holy moly, I can't even believe this promotion. Image done. At least there's a point of contact. Sometimes they talk to you, sometimes they don't, sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. But there's always things that you can do to maximize the promotions. And we all will be talking in the 1st of November about some things that we can do for sure. Have vendor events. 'Tis the season. I'm seeing lots of you guys doing this. Those of you that need more contacts, need to expand your warm market, vendor events are always a great way. Always a great way. And I always tell you, one person can change your business. If you meet one person at a vendor event that's a good contact, it's worth it. It's worth a couple hours. All right, doing a Spoil Yourself campaign. Some of you are like, what in the world is that? Spoil Yourself is where you send out samples and you create a group. And we'll include this in a call very soon about how to do this type of thing. Medicine Cabinet Makeover is very similar to that. Sometimes you can have samples, sometimes you don't. But basically, it's a week or about 5 days focused on the top 10 essential oils, 2 every single day, and what you can do to replace your medicine cabinet. So you kind of do focus on those medicinal needs and you don't dive into the emotional side and the personal product. But this gets people interested when you are putting this out on your Facebook. It's a little different than I'm teaching a class or would you like to spoil yourself? It's I have replaced my medicine cabinet. I haven't had a sick visit in 4.5 years. Do you want to know what I'm using? Kind of thing. A text blitz is when sometimes people do it in groups. Like sometimes leaders would say, okay, guys, we're going to do a text blitz at such and such time on whatever day. Sometimes you create a script, sometimes you don't, but it's basically you text as many people as you can in a short window of time about hosting a class, about setting up one-on-one appointments, about that you're doing the business, could you ask them for referrals? So a text list is just a focused, it's one of those things that gets you out of your comfort zone. And we've done this like at our business trainings before. We'll be like, okay, everybody freeze. We have 10 minutes. Go anywhere in the building, go outside, make phone calls or text, and let's see how many classes that we can get booked in 10 minutes. Okay, so something like that. You can do that with yourself. If you want to self-challenge yourself, and you can do that with you and your team. Okay, something that I listen to, and we're getting close to the end here, so if you guys, any of you leaders want to share anything, we'll definitely do that. But something that I listen to that and I've heard it before, but I thought that this was a really great idea, and it's definitely a way to get the ball rolling. This was on a video about hit elite in 6 weeks. And it was talking about when you create your names list, you generally try to list 100 names. And you can do this by people that you know, people that you're close to, and it helps better if you categorize it. So you have like family and friends, or family, friends, work people, miscellaneous contacts. Or if you have a strong church community, or you have a strong community of any other type that you work with frequently, and you create this list. This is something that we usually do in the beginning when somebody is just starting their business. Then you are encouraged to take a week of your life, get your family on board and say, I'm going to have 4 events in that week. 4 classes, okay? So 2 classes during the week, 2 on that weekend. And you are going to send messages, make phone calls, send Facebook messages, whatever you do, to all 100 of those people to invite them and give them 4 opportunities to come. Okay, if you split that evenly and you invite, let's just say that like 25 would work on each one of those. And maybe 8 to 10 of those would come. Maybe even 5 of those would come to 4 classes, to 1 of each of the class. You know what I'm saying? Like 4 to 5 people at each one of those classes could be the yield from the 100 people that you write down. Now, if you're in a place in your business that you feel completely stuck, this is something you should do. It may not even be on that scale. It may not be 4 classes, but if you are launching, if you are yet to really have more than about 10 enrollments, you should do this. Get everybody on board. Get your mentor or sponsor to help you. And you want to talk about scaling up, teach 4 classes in a week, you'll be a pro, okay? This is something that Diamond Club does. Diamond Club and Silver Club, hopefully it's doing it for you too. But when you are teaching several classes back to back to back, even if I go a spell like 2 weeks that I actually haven't done like an in-person class, I'm always a little rusty. But if I've taught 2 classes that week, the next week I teach a class, I'm like on point. So again, it's mastering and getting good at this. So that's just an idea. If you want to bite that off, talk to your mentor and sponsor, and go for it. And you will have a ton of support. Okay. And the last thing, hang on, I didn't put it in here. But there was a quote that I really like. Let me see if I can find it. Wasn't that one? I've lost it maybe. I'm sorry. Let's see. You can see. Oh, here it is. I'll click on this. You can see. This is, while a good leader sustains momentum, a great leader increases it. And this is something that us leaders, anybody who gets to the rank of silver and sustains it, anybody that gets to the rank of elite and sustains it, that's awesome. And sustaining your rank and solidifying your rank is a kind of a good gauge of momentum. Now, a great leader increases it, meaning that you are going beyond this. And that is why we are doing this. We're doing this with you, for you. We want to see your success. Your success breeds our success, but that's not what it's all about. But we want to increase the momentum. We don't want to just keep it just going. We want it to snowball. We want to share and share and share our tails off, right? Okay, so I will stop the share. And that's pretty much all I had as far as momentum goes. But if anybody has anything prepared or anybody wants to talk about anything, the floor is open. Michelle, Steph, Deb.
I had prepared something, but honestly, Jessie, you did such a great job presenting. You really covered just about everything. The only thing that I would add is get that strong momentum going and keep it going. You will have the excitement that other people can see, and you attract the people that you're looking for. So that's just the only thing that I would add to what Jessie said.
Thanks, Deb. Yeah, I was like, yeah, it'll probably be like 15 or 20 minutes. I just looked at the clock. Y'all, I'm sorry. I just kept thinking of things and trying to keep it in there. Anybody else? All right. Okay, we can switch and chat for just a few minutes if you want about, do you have questions about any of the things I said as far as, oh, well, here's something I wrote down. And I know that we've said this. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times. But Justin Harrison said, he's one of the master distributors with doTERRA. He says, you can do this business full time and you can do this business part time, but you can't do this business sometimes. And the reason being is that you will stop dead in your tracks. Your momentum will diminish. It will go away. If you say, I'm just going to do it when I feel like it, and then you're not really doing it as a business. Okay, let's just be real. Okay, and that's okay. It's wonderful to be a sharer. It is not for everybody. Okay, if it was, then it would be a lot harder for all of us to get where we are. But momentum and consistency go hand in hand. Being consistent, sharing your oils, and doing some of these action points you don't even have to do them every day. I do them every day. If you want to be a strong leader, you will do them every day. But for the most part, we all have times where we pull back, but we're still going forward. Yes? Everybody with me? See you, Steph. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything? Do you have any questions? What's going on? I'm trying to look at your faces. Happy Halloween week. All right, guys. I really appreciate you guys getting on. We've had some real great consistency on the call. So I know you guys are hungry for that momentum. Anything else? All right, last call. And we're going to hop off a little early. Okay. All right, either you're tired, I blew your mind. I'm just kidding. All right, you guys get to it. Get a plan. Talk to your people. November is just around the corner. With November comes the holiday guide. Have that on your mind. Get excited about that. Volume should be awesome. Remember, and we'll talk a little bit about that next week, but just remember and keep promoting the holiday products and help them remember that they only have to place one item in their cart that is not a reoccurring item, because some people get confused about that. November is a huge month for customer support. We got to do that. And usually in November we have BOGOs. So we're going to be talking BOGO strategy next week, along with promoting, what am I trying to say? Maximizing promotions. Y'all, tired. Okay, so I'm excited about next week. I'm excited about this week, and we can't wait. We'll be sending out those oils. If your mentor sponsor hasn't done that yet, we're planning to look at it at the end of the month and then send an hour lime. And, oh gosh, what was the other one? Is it grapefruit? Yeah? Okay. Lime and grapefruit out at the end of the month so that you can give that to your enrollments, okay? So make sure you're entering all of that on the Google form so we know what to do. All right? Signing off.